Let me paint a picture. This may not be the best of pictures that I want to paint, but nonetheless, I will have to paint it. These abducted school children and their teachers in Oyo State is a national tragedy. It actually speaks to who we are as a people. To a large extent, it reveals we are a people without a soul, that we've lost our essence and we do not believe in humanity. Now, this is not just about the government alone, but about we as a people, because the government, as a matter of fact, are from we the people. Now, if the government has failed to act, for indeed they've not shown leadership, they've not shown that we're not seeing any urgency, to suggest that they really want to rescue the pupils and the teachers. The actions have not shown that. The government officials are still celebrating victories over primaries that could have been put on hold given the national tragedy that we are going through. If there are no people, no human beings, and everybody being kidnapped and taken away, there will be nobody to govern, and then the state will be not what it ought to be, and there will be no state, as a matter of fact. So the picture I want to paint is that let's for a minute pause and close your eyes. Let's close our eyes, pause, and imagine that those pupils are our children. That is, if we are parents. Imagine they are nephews and nieces. If we are uncles and aunties and we're here to have our own children. Imagine that they've been kidnapped and that anything can happen, that they may have witnessed the beheading of their principal that was shown on video, that was captured and aired to the world. Imagine that these very ones are your children. Now, in the case that you do not have a child or children, imagine that they are your nephews and nieces. How would you feel? I believe you will be angry, you will be pained, and you won't be celebrating or catching fun, as it were, or acting like you don't care. It doesn't matter, it is not something that affects you directly, because then you will feel the pain and you will be pushing for their release. So I think this is how it should be. As a nation, when such tragedy befalls us, we should come together and call the government to act. That's why I say it is not about the government right now, but about us. Whether we are still humans or we've lost our soul, a nation of soulless people. If we are still humans and we've got our soul and we're not soulless, as it were, then let us come out, all of us, and begin to ask the government to act. Let us come out and protest, call them to go and walk towards the release of those children, those pupils, and those teachers. To that extent, what is happening reveals that the state has failed. And when the state fails, the chief agency of the state, being the government, has indeed failed. And they can't claim legitimacy to run the affairs of the state when they failed to manage the primary responsibility of the state, which is security and welfare of citizens, the protection of life and property. As it appears, the government don't care. But if they don't care, the government should account to us, and we can push them to care. We can ask them, we can make them to do the needful, or call for resignation, call for impeachment. If the president has failed and he doesn't want to do the needful, then we'll begin to push our senators and the House of Reps to begin to negotiate and call for his impeachment. Fabio has sworn that he will take no actions that, goes against the president, as to suggest that his allegiance is to the president and not to Nigeria as a nation, as a country, but to the president, that his office and his position in that office is transient and not to the state, then we can also call for the senators to pass a vote of no confidence and get him also removed. Then somebody who will come and institute an impeachment proceedings should be in that seat. Nigeria is bleeding. What has happened is not something that any nation would tolerate. Not even smaller nations that we are far bigger than, larger than, stronger than. But here we are, as though we are on our knees, begging bandits and terrorists in our own territory, non-state actors dominating the act of play, dominating the theater of war in our own nation, and we act as though all is well, celebrating victories of primaries, whereas Nigerians are being killed, whereas children that should be in school learning were abducted from their classrooms and are in the bush for over 2 weeks, and we're yet to hear the president speak to that. I think we must show we are humans and show to the world that we are not beasts. Even beasts would fight for their young ones if being attacked. Whenever we see the young ones of the beasts in the jungle under attack, fathers and mothers will come out and fight for them, much less we humans. Yet here we are. The government can do nothing. The government are so far removed from the suffering of the people. They don't care that Nigerians are being killed. And the people, the citizens, are here to take actions, to call for impeachment, to call for actions to be taken. It is a shame. It pains me, and as a matter of fact, it appears I have been sleeping too myself, not to have spoken as much as I should on this issue. I'm rather looking at issues that may not be that pressing, and lives are involved here. So when we see these ones as part of us, these children, innocent children, teachers that are there to educate the future leaders, being kidnapped and beheaded, yet the government is doing nothing about it. The government must take the needed action to ensure that those students are released and the teachers released. To ensure, no matter what it takes to get them out, the government should do the needful to get them out, so that to show that we still have a soul as a nation and not animals, not people not fit to be, a nation and become the mockery of the international community.